YEEHAW soldiers, it's your boy the Anime Stage Content video, and this is what if Junpei survived. My first ever Jujutsu Kaisen what if, and this should be fun to write. And alright, before we get into this, first of all, if you guys have not watched Jujutsu Kaisen, I suggest you guys do so now because Jujutsu Kaisen is awesome. And this series will probably be a one-shot unless you all want me to go into the manga where there's a lot more content over there, particularly the best arc in all Jujutsu Kaisen in this Shibuya incident. So if you want me to go into the manga, I will do that, but for now, unless you guys tell me to go into the manga, this is probably again going to be a one-parter. Also, in the future, if you want me to have all future Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs go into the manga, I will put up a poll after this video is released, and you guys will be able to vote on whether or not I actually go into the manga in future Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs. Again, I have to determine what you guys want me to do since it's my first Jujutsu Kaisen what if. And finally, as you guys have probably already noticed, this is around less than 15 minutes long, and that's mostly because of the fact that I have to figure out fully how to write Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs. I don't want to necessarily invest so much into something that I'm just trying to figure out, okay, how do I write this? How do I write this arc perfectly? As I improve over time with Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs, these will definitely get longer, but for now, I'm sticking to around 15 minutes long since I'm not fully familiar with how to write certain details in for the story at the moment, but I will get better over time with that type of stuff. Anyways, in terms of other videos coming up, Legacy chapters 26 through 28, so get hyped for that. And Half of Your Heart, Half of Chia part 4, I believe, is coming soon as well. So get ready for those videos. And there's also going to be some other stuff in between, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, watch the community tab like a hawk. Those are really important. Check my Patreon, ask nice rewards. You can get a support me financially. Link to in the description. And go check out my Twitch as you stream over there. Link to in the description. And now it's time for some quick social media plugs. Twitter's @MyStage4, Instagram's @_Stage4, and of course join my Discord server. I will give you all reasons for all such notes at the end of the video, so watch until the end. And now with all the way, let's get right into the story. Alright, so first things first, how is Junpei going to survive? Well, we have 3 plausible options. 1, Sukuna healing Junpei when Mahito crucifies him. Kento Nanami coming in to save Junpei before he is crucified. Or Junpei listens to Yuji and gets away from Mahito before he can be crucified. So let's go over the 3 options. Sukuna would have to see something in Junpei to even consider helping Yuji out with his plea. Remember, Sukuna is not here for the interest of Yuji, he is here for his own self-interest, which will probably include him taking over Yuji's body and using it to cause chaos. Sukuna would have to see something in Junpei like he sees in Megumi, and Megumi is kind of a prodigy, so that is less likely. So, in my opinion, Sukuna is an absolute no-go. Then that moves us to option 2, which is Nanami coming in to save the day. This is slightly more plausible, but we run into another problem. Both him and Ino were surrounded by cursed spirits, so it was probably difficult for both of them to deal with all the spirits depending on their grade. But we could have Nanami and Ino taking care of him slightly earlier, that way he can get there just in time to save Junpei, but Nanami then probably wouldn't know that Yuji can hurt Mahito. So then that leaves us with option 3, which is the most plausible in my opinion. Junpei was taken advantage of by Mahito and he did have a lot of trust for him, but he did have a bit of an epiphany about him before he got crucified and eventually killed. So the simplest thing we can do is have him reach that epiphany slightly earlier and give Junpei enough time to back away and go for a dodgy match with Mahito. I think this is something that works a lot more than the first 2 options, so I'm going to go with this one. Now, the only problem we have now is Yuji's development, but I think we can keep it the same here somewhat. Alright, let's get into this. Junpei and Yuji see Mahito come down the stairs. Yuji will look at Mahito, and once he unleashes his mutated massive arm and pins Yuji to the wall, Yuji will realize this is the guy Nanami was talking about. Yuji will tell Junpei to run, and Junpei will back away a bit and will say, "Wait a minute, Yuji, it's okay, he's my friend, I can..." Then Junpei reaches an epiphany as he remembered all the cursed human experiments. Mahito was the one doing all that. A look of horror reaches Junpei's face. Mahito says, "So, you figured it out. I'm the enemy. At least you were smart enough to figure it out before I got too close to you." Not! Mahito extends his arm and Junpei rolls over to dodge as he knows that he cannot be touched by Mahito. Yuji will try to help Junpei but is smacked back by Mahito. Mahito says, "Wait your turn." Yuji, feeling helpless, will call upon Sukuna for help. Sukuna will laugh at Yuji and refuses, causing Mahito to stop what he's doing and laugh with Sukuna. Junpei is kind of confused because he does not understand why there is a mouth on Yuji's face. Mahito says after finishing his laugh, "Oh, confused. Don't worry about Sukuna's vessel because you've got bigger problems." Junpei is then like, "Sukuna's what?" Yuji will reach that same epiphany as before, and will also realize he will have a lot of explaining to do, but knows now is not the time. Junpei will try to fight back with his trainer with his Shikigami, but it will be of no use to Mahito as he lets himself get stabbed and will show Junpei he cannot harm him. Yuji knows he has to act now, and as he looks at the helpless eyes of Junpei, Yuji gets enraged and will hit Mahito, and Mahito will say, "Oh, so Sukuna's vessel is angry." Mahito then realizes he has a bloody nose and realizes Yuji can in fact hit him. Mahito then talks about how it was he who killed Junpei's mom, and both Yuji and Junpei will have a look of rage in their eyes. Junpei will want to fight Mahito, but Yuji will stop him and will say, "No." Junpei will protest this, but Yuji will say that only he can hurt him, and if Junpei joins in, he will only get himself killed. Junpei will still try to protest this, but the aura of rage around Yuji will stop Junpei in his tracks, and Junpei will reluctantly stay back. Yuji will unleash an aura of rage on Mahito and will say, "I'm going to kill you!" And then Mahito grins and says, "Don't you mean exercise?" The subsequent fight between Mahito and Yuji will go the same, as well as the eventual fight between Nanami and Yuji versus Mahito. Junpei is in awe of Nanami and the technique he used to stop Mahito's attack on Yuji, and is in awe of Yuji's ability to hit Mahito. Junpei is also shocked about the technique Mahito eventually uses, his domain expansion, and then sees that the field is destroyed, and Mahito looks to be badly hurt. However, Mahito will escape like in canon, will frustrate Junpei in tears because of everything that has happened to him. He feels like at this point he has nothing. Then, Nanami will go up to Junpei and will say, "Why are you crying?" Junpei will then talk about his plight, including his mother dying and his betrayal from Mahito. Nanami will say, "And what are you going to do about it?" Junpei looks up and will say, "I want to kill him. I want to make him pay." Nanami will then ask, "How will you do this?" Junpei jumps to realization as remembers what Yuji said to him about going to Jujutsu High with him. Junpei tells Nanami, "I want to join Jujutsu High. That way I can help destroy curses, so no one is ever cursed by them again, and kill Mahito." Nanami nods and says, "You have a long road ahead of you if you decide to do so, but I won't stop you." Nanami then walks away, and then thinks to himself, to have experienced so much at a young age, it would be wrong of me to tell him no. Plus, it will be beneficial for Yuji. And then we'll now have Junpei join Jujutsu High. Now, there is going to be a couple things I'm going to explain here before I continue. Yes, I think Junpei would have gotten a chance to be in Jujutsu High if he had lived, and he probably would have gotten in as well, because it's the most logical outcome for his character. He definitely showed a lot of potential, especially with the Shikigami that he used. He would be leading a new life where he doesn't get bullied anymore, and can help Yuji and his friends fight curses. And the other thing here is he would most likely get development that goes beyond notions of revenge, which is to protect his friends from curses, especially since these would be his first real friends after years and years of bullying, especially Yuji. Junpei will be able to get into Jujutsu High and meets the incredible Gojo. He says, "So, you're Junpei. I've heard a bit about you from Yuji. I'm Gojo Satoru." And Junpei says, "Nice to meet you, Gojo." And then a little while later, Junpei will see Yuji, and Yuji's pretty happy to see Junpei at Jujutsu High. Yuji then decides to tell Junpei about Sukuna, and Junpei is shocked but will accept this as Yuji explains his predicament. Junpei vows to help Yuji get all the fingers as long as he helps him take down Mahito like he promised, and of course Yuji agrees to this. Because no one likes Mahito, including myself. I mean, he's a great villain, but I really don't like him. Anyways, there is one thing I would like to note here as well. Junpei will not have much of an impact in the Kyoto Goodwill arc. As new student, he will need a bit of polishing from guys like Gojo or Nanami before he battles anyone. So for the most part, he'll have to sit this arc out. Even when people like Mahito and Hanami and everyone else attack, he'll only make some minor contributions. And this is mostly because Gojo has to kind of stop him from doing something really stupid. Gojo will introduce the new students, Yuji and Junpei, though again will explain that Junpei will not be competing, and of course Yuji will have some explaining to do after Gojo says that Yuji will explain everything. When Yuji tells Nobara and Megumi about Junpei, Megumi actually can slowly sympathize with Junpei, so he understands why Yuji brought him here. Anyways, I feel like there is a bit of a dilemma here when it comes to Junpei, mostly the fact that he was 17 when he died and was probably a junior, soon to be senior in high school, so theoretically he would more so fit with the third years, but Junpei does not have the experience of a third year. He's more like a first year like Yuji, especially since Yuji kind of thrashed him when they first battled. Since Yuji is probably the best pair for Junpei at this point in the story, especially since Junpei is again a fledgling Jujutsu sorcerer, so he'll be paired with Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi. Anyways, as I already said, the Kyoto arc will go around the same, though Junpei in this timeline will compete in the baseball game and will help his classmates win. Now we move on to the last arc of the anime, which is his death painting arc. In this arc, after some time passes, as I already mentioned, Junpei will join up with our favorite trio. This will definitely spice up this arc a little bit, and it's definitely a test for Junpei since Gojo and company want to see how he will do on missions after all the training he's gotten so far. Megumi will explain the situation with his sister, and Junpei of all people will speak up and will say, "Don't worry, I will do what I can to save your sister from the curse, and she'll be saved." Megumi says that won't be necessary, but he appreciates Junpei's words as he knows what he went through with curses. When the time comes for the fight at hand, Megumi and Junpei will decide to fight together with the Finger Bearer, while Yuji and Nobara will do their thing against Kichizero and Iso. Junpei will use his new powerful stinger to help deal with the Finger Bearer curse, but it is still way too powerful. Megumi will then go into a similar monologue like in canon. He says, "Even though I have you to fight with me, Junpei, there's one truth about being a Jujutsu sorcerer. Even if we get as many allies as possible, we will all die alone." Junpei will refute this and says, "No, because even if you die, you'll still have people who actually care about you, including us, your friends, me, Yuji, and Nobara." Megumi chuckles a little bit and says, "You barely even know me, so why would you care about me?" And then Junpei will say, "It's because Yuji cares about you. At the end of the day, he cares about you and you're his friend, aren't you? If you're a friend of Yuji, then I will make sure that his friends are protected because he saved me from myself and Mahito, and I will always be grateful for him." Megumi kind of chuckles and then will say, "Well, we'll see. You may be naive, but you definitely got some spirit." Then Megumi decides to pull up his ace from his sleeve in the Chimera Garden. Junpei is in awe as this is the second domain expansion he has ever seen. Junpei decides to use his own technique as he uses Shikigami with enhanced stingers that wound the Finger Bearer badly. Megumi eventually finishes the Finger Bearer and both Junpei and Megumi collapse on the ground in relief. Megumi then says, "You're not bad at all. Keep it up and you will definitely defeat that curse." Junpei breathes exhaustedly, a little bloody, and says, "Thank you. You're pretty amazing yourself." Megumi smirks, and later the group will reunite, and Yuji and Nobara will give Junpei props for his efforts in helping Megumi defeat the Finger Bearer. Junpei will say thanks and feels that he will eventually reach his goal of defeating Mahito for good, though he also at this point feels a bit at peace because for the first time in his life he has real friends. Yuji and Junpei and everyone else will go hang out a little bit later, and that will be the end of our story unless I go into the Shibuya incident. Thank you all for watching What If Junpei Survived. Again, this is the first time I really did a bit of a one-shot what if, in my opinion, but I think I did a pretty good job with it. Again, this is also the first Jujutsu Kaisen what if I've ever written, so again, it's kind of like something I'll get used to over time as I try to figure out how to write some characters down, because even though I've read the manga, it always, like, you have to, like, always try to figure out how do I write this bit of dialogue for this character, and is it kind of in character with this character? It's kind of a bit of a mess in certain ways, but it gets better over time. Anyways, let me know if you want me to make more Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs, and also, again, make sure you vote after you watch this video, because again, this will determine whether or not I go into the manga for not only this what if, but also future Jujutsu Kaisen what ifs, so again, go vote. It's kind of important. Anyways, get ready for Legacy Chapters 26 through 28, and What If Naruto was Happy Chia Part 4, I believe, again, and also some other stuff in between, so get ready for those types of videos. They're going to be coming out very soon. And now, for terms of other stuff, watch my community tab like a hawk. And again, give me some fanfic suggestions. I do want to get back into more fanfic reads, and I want to do them for MHA and DBZ like I said I did originally. So if you guys have any DBZ, MHA, or any other Naruto fanfics you want me to read, leave the names of those down in the comments below, and I will read them and see what I think of them. So go do that. And finally, follow me on Twitter for no way good for my videos, and also some funny stuff over there, as I do have over 1,000 followers in there. And again, it would be pretty cool if you follow me on Twitter. It's pretty fun. Instagram for memes, and that's about it. But just follow me over there anyways, because it's Instagram. And finally, join my Discord server for access to not only some potential supplementary content, but also the ability to interact with me directly, or some other fun stuff in between, where you can suggest me ideas directly or something else. So again, join my Discord server, and again, these are great ways for you guys to interact with me, so follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and join my Discord server. Shout out to my $10 patrons, their names on screen, my $50 patron Anguish, and if you want to support me further and get rewards to shouts like these, go to my Patreon, which is linked in the description. Thank you all for 40k, I don't know if I thanked you guys for that yet. But again, thank you for 40k. Let's get to 41k and eventually 50k. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, share the video. This has been your boy, the Anime Sage, signing out. Peace. Yorta, Stephanie Shea, close out. Bye-bye. Peace.
Hi, this is Stephanie Shea, voice actress for Sailor Moon, Hinata, Orihime, and you are watching Anime Sage.